To be following the agenda that is published.
Super, thank you.
All right. Continue, Dr. Stoltz.
Yes, so, given those changes over the last few months, and where case counts are and the interest in the weekly tracker that is, I've got some recommendations here tonight from what I made in August. So on this particular slide, we still want families and staff, they're still strongly encouraged to conduct daily monitoring for symptoms as they normally would, and to reach out to their primary care provider if they suspect they have COVID or flu or anything else for that matter. We would keep in place per the CDC, the current guidance is still to isolate for 5 days and then wear a mask, assuming that all those other conditions are met when they return. And asking that the school nurse should be notified. However, we're not contact tracing or identifying close contacts. One of the things I would say is the nurses are not always notified about cases, and I think you said that. So even if we were to keep the tracker in place, you don't really have probably a good reliable means about monitoring thresholds and things in the long run. So those pieces would stay in place. And then lastly, just a final slide, which says we'll continue to monitor transmission and where things are generally in the community, and we follow any related guidance and directives, or as conditions will evolve, maybe we would come back and talk about things that we might need to do that are no longer in place. And with that, we'll keep the shell of our health and safety plan, which still speaks to cleaning protocols and some other elements in that regard, but no more reference to thresholds or the tracker. It would be our recommendation when we get to that item for you to consider later in the agenda that we would update the tracker one last time tomorrow and then discontinue it after that. Any questions about what I've shared either here tonight or about reporting requirements or anything like that? Okay, and as we've done in the previous instances, when we get down to that agenda item, it will be to consider that for approval as discussed.
Thank you, Dr. Stoltz. The next item, section 3, recognition by the board. First item is the U.S. Band Championship. Mrs. Moyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a former band mom, I love to present this award to our marching musical athletes, and they are athletes, for the number of hours they spend in the parking lot. So this evening, it is my pleasure to award this award of excellence to the West Shore Marching Band and Color Guard in recognition of the band's third place at the U.S. Band Pennsylvania State Championship and fifth place at the U.S. Band Mid-Atlantic Regional Championship, presented December 15th for Gold Lake, but the lot is still the same. So I ask someone from the band to come up and receive their award, and our sincere congratulations for another outstanding effort. Mr. Sterrett teaches valuable lessons for life.
You guys heard me speak too much. I was going to say, she's way more eloquent than you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the West Shore School District and you, the board, for your support of our marching band program. We're supposed to have an administration that values what we do, as we do the athletics, the chess clubs, and the theater programs. Thank you for giving us the resources that allow us band kids to pursue our passion. My name is Kate Higland, and I've been the drum major for the West Shore Marching Band for the past 2 years. On November 5th, my fifth and final season came to an end. Words truly cannot describe the impact this organization has had on my life, but I'm a writer, so I will try my best. You've just recognized us with an award for excellence. But only that, excellence is a constant topic of conversation for us. Excellence is a choice. Excellence is never on the path. Be excellent, choose excellence, strive to achieve the highest level of excellence. We've often gotten into a meet with the discussion of what excellence really means. This is one of many things that my 5 years ago has taught me. I find it perfectly summed up in a quote from the philosopher Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Even if you didn't see Go West this year, chances are you've seen us perform at least one of our shows in recent years. Hopefully you were impressed with our performance, and maybe you even thought to yourself, wow, that's excellent. Maybe it was Tyler Kirchner's fabulous harmonica solo, or Darby Dirk catching a sky-high rifle toss, or the sound of Sam Leeds on trumpet ringing through the stadium when the opening hit of the show that made you think that. The performances are impressive, yes, but that stuff, the stuff that makes you go wow, the stuff that the audience cheers for, and as Mr. Sterrett says, the stuff that makes them throw babies, that isn't the best stuff. The best stuff is far more mundane. The best stuff is sweating through a long week of band camp rehearsals when the temperature is 97 and it feels like 103 degrees on the parking lot. The best stuff is watching an 8th grader finally get their feet in time after leaves are struggling. The best stuff is the intense focus at the end of the rep when the band is watching and the practice field is silent as the band waits for the command to relax. The best stuff is watching a section that's been together for only a few weeks work together like they've known each other their entire lives. The best stuff is falling asleep on the bus ride home from a competition, dead tired after a long day and an incredible performance. I couldn't tell you a single story that we got this season. Many athletes will tell you that their proudest moment was winning the championship game or scoring a winning touchdown. The irony of the season is that none of that happened for us this year. We didn't come close to first place at nationals, or even the top three that we faced in last year. Yet, as one who has been in the program for 5 years, this season was without a doubt the most successful the West Shore Marching Band has ever had. This group of students love nothing more than hard work. They never settle for anything less than their absolute best. They constantly keep at it. To put it simply, they need a habit. It was largely due to our student leadership team. We were an event full of dedicated people, even more dedicated to making our organization better for us and for those that follow us. The leaders created the culture that made the band's move to hard work possible. Mr. Sterrett always tells us we go as we go, and the leadership set an amazing example for the rest of the band. They are truly excellent people, and they made me so incredibly proud. And to me, the thing that made this season so successful was how much fun we had doing it. I'm sure they will agree with me that this one was by far the most fun we've ever had doing the show. So in the end, the scores didn't matter to us. We threw down at MetLife Stadium. The crowd loved it, the judges agreed. But the most important thing is that we loved every single moment that we come together. That's the thing about marching band. It's not really about marching band. Some of the best memories are musical moments, but the best stuff is the stuff you take to your everyday life. I've learned so much from marching band and from being a leader. Problem solving, people skills, public speaking, confidence. I love the activity, but I love the things that I've gotten from it so much more. So again, I thank you for supporting the marching band, and I thank you for recognizing that excellence is so much more than effort.
Thank you.
Mr. Iceway,
Yeah.
just some comments for everybody in the band. I remember very fondly at the beginning of the season, it's always nice to have parents' night, and you know, when all parts of the show are not put together, but Mr. Iceway and I were in the stands that night, and I was sending Mr. Mr. Clemens some just video of the good, bad, the ugly being performed, and with the show this year was Go West, so it was phenomenal, and just to hear that at the beginning of the show was awesome for me, and it's really neat to see how the show came together throughout the season. I can't say I would have ever predicted to see covered wagons as part of it, but just an enjoyable experience. And obviously, glad to hear that all of you are having a wonderful experience in that. And for those that are graduating, are all of you seniors? You're not all seniors, are you? Two, right? Just one. No, yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I thought you're a senior, and I know Kate just said you were. So, congratulations and good luck to you as you go on. But thanks for making us West Shore proud with that business. I know I'm speaking for you too. It's a lot of fun to see the band perform.
I saw him perform the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, and at the end of the year, and it just kept getting better each time. And that last time I watched you guys perform, it was outstanding. You had a big sound. It was great. I really enjoyed the show. It was just actually a fun show to watch. So you guys did a great job this year.
Thank you much.
Okay, we're still cleaning up from the snow day last month. So the next recognition.
Relies on the chief.
Yes.
Ready to go? Okay.
So the next recognition we're going to do is on the district holiday card recognition, which Mr. Corman's going to.
Well, this explains why you're asking.
We were supposed to. So a lot of these recognitions we were supposed to do last month, but because it snowed and we had to cancel or we didn't cancel the meeting, but we kept the students home just for safety, the students and their families. So we're bringing them back this month to give them that recognition. So, Mrs. Foreman.
Yeah, so I'm not as much as Mr. Vogelsong into Christmas year-round or the holidays or celebrating the winter festivals year-round, but I am excited that you're letting me do this recognition in person with the two individuals. So, as you'll probably recall, those of you tuned in or who were here last month, the reveal of this year's winning holiday card entries. And tonight I'm thrilled to have both students and their families with us. So it is with great pleasure and pride that I first asked Madeline Hodge to join me at the podium. If we could put Madeline's card for those who missed it last year. Come on, Madeline. So Madeline is a junior at Cedar Cove High School, and I'm going to present her with a framed copy of her artwork that was appeared on the holiday card. Over to Cedar Cove and gave Maddie some copies of the card to give out to her family and her $50 gift card. And I warned her that I was going to put her on the spot and asked her to kind of explain a little bit about her artwork. And if you don't mind, you want to kind of tell me how you created that?
Okay, so I use a program on my iPad with an application called Procreate, and it's actually it's pretty similar to traditional artwork, which is draw stuff, but you do it with an iPad and an application. And it's very nice. I knew that I wanted, while I was creating it, I knew that I wanted to make a piece that could be celebrating the holiday or the winter season, but also be appreciated by everyone who celebrates all holidays. So that was something that I was thinking about while I was creating the piece. So yeah.
And I know you're only a junior, but have you given any thought? Do you want to do anything artistic after you graduate?
I'm thinking about graphic design because I do like to do like logos and other card design and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wonderful. I'm the district's former graphic artist. Keep in touch.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you, Madeline.
That sounds like a senior project opportunity.
Good job. So in addition to the artwork, we also accepted submissions for our verse category. And our winning verse was written by Kaylee Hart, and she is a senior at Cedar Cove High School. And I'd like to invite Kaylee to come up now and to join me at the podium. So similar to Maddie, Kaylee received copies of the card and the gift card prior to break. And at this time, I'd like to present her with a framed copy of her verse. And like Maddie, I have kind of So like Maddie, I had warned Kaylee that I was going to put her on the spot. So I'm going to have her read her verse. It's always best to hear it from the person who wrote it. So I'm going to speak into the mic.
"'Tis the season for holiday cheer, for knitted scarves and glowing reindeer. Whether winter break takes you near or far, remember to gaze up at a wintry star. Make memories with those you hold tight. Their smiles will shine forever bright. We wish you the most decadent of days once more. Happy holidays from West Shore."
So when I was talking to Kaylee with her teacher, Mrs. Camp, I said, like, how long did it take you to write that? And what did you tell me?
Half an hour.
So obviously, we have some very talented students in our district. So thank you so much, Kaylee. I'm so glad you entered. And you're a senior. Do you have plans after graduation yet?
I haven't heard back from any colleges yet, but I will go to college.
Wonderful. Fingers crossed. My son's also waiting to hear that. It's a stressful time, so my heart goes out to you. But yeah, we're glad you and your mother could make it tonight. So thank you so much. Yeah, congratulations. So on behalf of the Board of Administration, I just wanted to thank them both for entering the holiday card contest this year and for sharing their talents with us. We're delighted to have them both representing our district with pride this year. Thank you.
I'm glad you can be here in person this evening. So thank you.
Kaylee, what are you planning to major in?
I'm majoring in business.
Any, if you had your choice, school that you might most like to attend?
Right now, I'm applying for an University.
Okay.
I'm waiting for that in February.
All right. Well, good luck to you in that.
Yes, good luck. Okay. Got all the fun stuff out of the way. All right, shout outs. Are there any shout outs this evening from board members? I'll start with Fred.
So the only shout out I have, I didn't witness it in person, I didn't hear about it from anybody I know, but I see that Mr. Wenzel, the L-20 cell, was a big hit. That was fantastic. It was a tremendous amount of fun. A little chilly, but it was a great experience. And I know Colorado. One more, every hand warm I went. Thank you.
Okay. Scott.
Believe it or not, I do not have any right now.
Okay,
Yes,
wow.
I'm going.
Jim?
I know. I'm not gonna let you down. I wanted to recognize Keaton Manley, who is a CTC student in diesel technology from Cedar Cliff High School. He was recognized as the Mechanicsburg North Rotary Student of the Month. And he will be attending Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics in Hagerstown to serve and get an education in aviation technologist.
Excellent, campus done.
And as a mother of a son who's involved in aeronautics, that's an exciting career.
Yes. Excellent.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I have a few tonight. Our district was well represented last weekend at the CCMEA County Band Festival. 40 students from our middle and high school band program traveled from Messiah University to perform with their peers from area schools. If you watched the Golden Globes on Tuesday night, you may be interested to know that Chloe Flower, the pianist who performed and could be seen on the red carpet, is a West Shore graduate and member of Cedar Cliff High School's class of 2000. While a student here, she was known as Chloe Flower. West Shore has 4 students bringing home honors from the Peter Farm Show this week. Congratulations to Chase Corman, a junior at Redland. First in cactus garden, first in air plant design, 4th in hanging basket, 4th in mini landscape display. Madison Derrickson, a junior from Redland, 2nd place air plant design. Logan Maurer, junior at Redland, 5th place in the mixed herb garden. Chad Milachowski, sophomore at Cedar Cliff, 3rd place for bud base and monochromatic theme. Kyrie Rice, sophomore at Cedar Cliff, 4th place all-around arrangement in a mug. These students are all enrolled in Cumberland Area Career and Technical Center's Horticulture and Landscaping program. Lastly, a shout out and reminder that starting next week, Cedar Cliff will be hosting our annual clothing swap from Tuesday through Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. in the library. All members of the community are invited to come out if they can use assistance with clothing, shoes, or other items. Shout out to Kristen Myers, Kelly Geiswhite, and other members of the staff at Cedar Cliff and Highland who are organizing the event.
Okay. Now we're into the recognition of the public for business items. Dr. Argot, do we have any blue card for business items, students or general public?
From students, but from the general public, yes.
All right, I have two public blue cards for agenda items, and these are for the item on. Yes. Yes, health and safety. Okay, and the first person I'll call on is Mrs. Allison Schiff. Welcome, Allison.
I guess I was just confused in understanding what exactly, it was more of a question, I know you guys can't answer it now, of what, I knew you said it was gonna be revised, and then we're going to be doing away with the tracker, and I know that we have to have it due to the ESSER funds and that we have received in the act in which it's a governmental thing, it's required. Yes, I'm asking.
And that's not correct.
We don't have to claim
Which part?
to have a health and safety plan at all.
Yes, we do have to have a health.
You said
Right.
tracker.
No, yeah, I meant the health and safety. I know we're doing away with the tracker, just like you stated. Yes, that's not a requirement any longer. And again, my point being that we should probably just eventually do away with that. But the other part was also the curriculum for the ethnics. That was also on my blue card, which is also a business item. And I was hoping that you guys were able to look into some of it. And so I'm just interested in hearing what you guys vote on tonight regarding that. But I think it was really great. A lot of the things that we are doing, absolutely. It's really awesome and encouraging of what great students we have, especially the ones with the medical issue. So a blessing at least. So thanks.
Thank you, Allison. Okay, Mrs. Christy Spangler. Christy, welcome.
Thank you. How are you guys doing this evening?
We're just peachy.
Good, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about is the safety and health plan. This is spiritual warfare. Christians need to wake up and stand for God. We have been here telling you guys for over 2 years that the masks and the social distancing and the vaccines don't work. Actually, as we stated, they've done much more harm than good to our public school system is destroyed. Our grades, we're failing. The mental health of these kids, the issues they have, the drugs, and the fighting. The reason this keeps happening is because no one is asking any questions. Us parents have been coming up here for almost 3 years saying about the mask hurting kids, and we're all seeing it, but that's not, nobody's speaking of that the kids are failing. They're not doing well. Instead, we decided to bring the SEL in we had to bring in. Instead of listening to the parents, we decided to follow the outside agencies that will continue to give you money and indoctrinate our children. $17 million at our special needs is totally destroyed. You never emailed me about the special needs, but you don't need to because I know what's going on with the special needs. We continue to pay our aides, which is our bread and butter, as we like to say, less than sheep's workers. That is a very important job. You wonder why we're not thriving? Pay these people. Give them some training. All this woke crap is anti-God. And I get ridiculed all the time for standing up for what I believe in. All this stuff is anti-God. The Bible states that you only quarantine the sick, not the healthy. We were quarantining the healthy all the time. This ethnic studies, the problem with our country is ignorance. When I was in school, we were taught we had the best country, respect it. We learned about our country. Not anymore. We teach our kids to hate our country. We teach our kids to be a victim, not a victor. and we wonder why we have problems. Teach them facts.
30 seconds.
Teach them that you can still have the American dream. If you get up, you work through it, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be painful. You understand that. These are scary words in this woke culture. Life isn't fair or easy sometimes. That's why I tell my kids all the time. You want something, you work for it. You can't take from somebody else to make things even. When someone gets something for nothing, they will never work for it. That's what we're teaching our kids. This is communism, and it's never worked anywhere, and it won't work.
Okay, and that's all we have for blue cards, and, just to shift, I have you on the general comments as well. So moving into the business items,
Good evening, board.
excuse me, sir, did you fill out a blue card?
You have, I'm getting ready to object. Is your solicitor here?
She is.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to object. You understand objections in the sunshine law?
I understand the objection, but I also understand that you are interrupting a public meeting.
You understand the objection? So
Public comment has ended.
and I'm not, this is not a comment section. I'm objecting. So I'll just read the law to you, okay? So this is said on, you want to read it? You want me to read it?
I have a copy of the
7:10.
in front of me. I don't require you to read it. Please sit down.
So when you object, now listen, I'm going to stay here until my objection is done. I'm staying.
We're gonna recess the meeting.
Please, school board members, please read 7:10 of the sunshine law.
We are now in recess.
Because you don't like
Any
what you
person
said.
has the right to raise an objection at any time to perceived violation of the chapter of the sunshine law at any meeting of the board. Any member of the public has the right to do this.
Yes.
I'm a member of the public and the press. I have the right to be here, therefore I have the right to object.
Constitutional rights.
You have to make sure, are you a member of the board? Somebody on the board, make her read 7:10. Make her read 7:10 because you know we need a clear violation.
That's why you shouldn't do that.
He has a right and so
This is, this is a public meeting.
No,
It's not your
It
meeting.
is my
No, no,
meeting.
It's not your meeting.
It's my meeting. We have an agenda, it's public.
That's right.
It's the procedure.
Any person has the right, this is 7:10, section C of the sunshine law. Any
You're a
person,
public servant, not a ruler.
any person of the public has the right to raise an objection at the time of a perceived violation of this chapter. At any time of the meeting of the board, council or political subdivision or authority created by the political subdivision. The violations that this board has received tonight is 709, notification of agency visits. 24 hours prior to this meeting, all pertinent information should have been on the website. The superintendent's report that he was reading, in
We're
fact,
adjourning for executive session.
in fact,
We don't care.
We're staying.
in fact, they had the, when Mr. Superintendent was speaking, he was actually deliberating. He was making proposals in his superintendent's report. The public's supposed to be able to comment in front of any proposals. So he in fact was taking official action during the superintendent's report. And the superintendent's report wasn't available to everybody to read 24 hours in advance because you could have prepared a speech against them or in favor of them because it sounded like he was being thoughtful. But the matter is, he was making proposals before he got to speak. That's illegal. At the door, somewhere in this building, there's supposed to be an agenda posted. In his office, it's supposed to be posted. There's no posting of the agenda on this building. When I came here, I had no idea what building they were having the meeting. I had no idea where it was being held because, quite frankly, it wasn't posted. That's illegal. The budget. The budgets are in text. The budget's not in final form. That 2013-2014 career technical school budget should be in final form for you all to view. If you can't view it, in fact, you can't speak freely on it. So in fact, your freedom of speech, is being hindered because you can't speak freely. They're doing their job and they're allowing you to be here in public, but they have burlap bags on your head, not letting you see You need to see a line, it needs to be in final form. There's no pertinent information in what they give us. There's no pertinent information on the website. Those are all violations. Public participation. If they do not let me object, this is a huge violation. This is my First Amendment is about to get squashed. So it's the people's First Amendment about to get squashed, not just mine. Because when I sit down, this lady, that man is gonna wanna speak one day, and they're not gonna be able to, because they're not gonna let you speak. I have the right to be here, I'm in the public, I'm with the press, I have the right to be here. It clearly says it in the Sunshine Law, the law that restrains them, not us. And in fact, they're going to go ahead and they're going to probably call the police on me. And when the police come, then and threaten to arrest me, then I will yield. But till then, I will speak until I get a right to do my objection. They will become lawful, because if a school board becomes lawful, half of the unconstitutional things they're doing will just go away by themselves, and we only have to deliberate a few of them. So we can't let them run rickshaw over us like this.
That's what they've been
So,
doing for 2+ years. and they're not doing it.
when you object, are you still recording? When you object, ever object, you get to give them a specificity to the perceived violation, so I get to be very specific. I believe the superintendent was proposing things inside of his superintendent's report. Instead of reporting, he was proposing. That happens after public comment section, and his report should have been listed on the website 24 hours in advance. It wasn't. I then tell them what code they broke, 709, 703, 710. I tell them that. I give them a remedy, and the only remedy is to adjourn this meeting and come back properly noticed, and with you all being properly noticed so you can have this meeting properly. They should vote on nothing. Everything they vote on is going to get canned, because they can't, this meeting is an illegal meeting. It's not even properly noticed. It wasn't properly prepared. So I will give them remedy. If they don't take the remedy, they have to deny it with their mouth. They have to say, we deny those violations. If they do, they're willfully moving on through the violations, and I will sit down. They either got to give us remedy or they deny it. Either one of those two things will sit me down, or police officers come in here threatening to arrest me.
Do you really have to sit down if they do that?
I will sit down, because they either give us remedy
Yeah, they give us.
or they deny it. If they deny it, fine.
Oh,
No, if the police come and they threaten to arrest me, it's the same thing as being arrested, so I will sit down and prevent the whole chaos having to do with that. But under duress of arrest, I will sit down. Until then, your government should give you remedy or deny it. So simply deny it, and I'll sit down.
Because they're stating that they're.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just asking.
They should not be able to, but not all police officers are trained. They have what they call discretion. They're not constitutional police, they're statutory police. They police policy and statutes. I'm now standing on my constitutional rights. You can never turn the exercise of a constitutional right into a crime or into a sanction. So in fact, if they make an error and come and get me and they threaten to arrest me, it's the same thing as being arrested. What's going to happen is those poor police officers now are going to be at risk of losing their sovereign immunity, because they will be doing something outside of their jurisdiction they have no authority to do. The school board will be doing something outside of their jurisdiction as well. They have no authority to do what they're about to do. Everything I just said, simply to this crowd, could be simply said to them, and then they say, we will remedy it or we deny it, and they will sit me down. But instead they did that. What they just did is called leaving the battlefield. So by essence, what they just did was they conceded.
Sir, do you have a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Brooke Fay, I'm the school solicitor.
I'm George Umas. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Tonkan.
Where is that?
That's in Wyoming County.
And are you affiliated with an organization?
I'm with the press. I'm the press.
Which press are you with?
I'm an independent journalist.
Okay, come
No,
out here.
so I'll do it right here.
Okay, so you want to put some things through?
I want to object properly.
Yes.
I get to object. I will object. Here's what's going to happen. I will object. I will tell you what the perceived violations are.
Okay,
I will tell you what codes I believe you have broken.
okay,
I will offer you a remedy. You will either agree to the remedy or deny it, and then I sit down.
okay. So you'll get the same period of time anybody else would to provide
This is
public
not
comment.
comment section,
Okay.
comment section.
Sir,
This is objection. Go in the sunshine law and tell me where it says there's a time limit on objection.
I am aware
On the objection.
I'm asking not here
Say
to
no.
give you legal advice.
I don't want your legal
What I am
advice.
telling you
I'm reading
is
this on
you
this-
will not, sir, you will not be permitted after this meeting.
I am
We
not
will-
disputing.
we
I
will-
am giving my God-given right to object, and I will object, and you will either remedy it or deny it. One of those two things, I sit down.
We
all
will
you
give
have to
you
say-
time to make your
You
objection.
will not give me time. I will take the time, and you will either remedy my problems, or you will deny it. And I'm okay with you doing either one. If you won't remedy it, which is actually adjourning the meeting, then what you will do is you say, we deny all allegations. When you say those words on public record, I take that seat right there. That's the only way. That's the only way you sit down. Because I'm objecting. There's no time to my objections.
Giving you forewarning.
I'm
give you a
giving you,
reason.
let me tell you something. I'm telling you what's going to happen. I am going to object because Channel Law says I can't. There is no time limit to objection. However, how long did it take me, folks? 3 minutes to explain to you? If you will not interrupt me, I will be all your violations. I will tell you what your remedy is. You will say we remedy it or we deny all of it. If you deny it all, I take that seat and your business goes on.
Heard you. We will reopen the meeting. You will be permitted a reasonable
You
period
will
of
not
time.
permit me to do anything. I will take the time.
All right, we're going to
Understand?
start the meeting, and if we need to end it because you continue to have people.
It's an interruption.
You-
It's an objection. I have the right to object. I will object. You will not give me anything. You will not permit me. The wording is important. I will take right to object and I will object. You see how she's trying to say she's going to permit me? She's trying to take control of this. We are over them. They are not over us. Yes, sir.
Sunshine Law 20.
Right here, sir. Would you like me to read something? Would you like me to read something? I've got one. Yeah, would you come up here? Because I don't want to leave the podium. I'm
I've got it
leaving
on here. I've got it pulled up. I can take it.
All right, you want to see the objection part? It's right here. This is the part that we're on. No, stay recording. Just please.
I'll point it.
We're in a public place. There's no right for it.
Are you recorded by the school? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Sunshine Law. This is section 710, objection.
Perceived violation. So what's the perceived violation?
Well, I'm proceeding. I'm telling you what it is.
Because I know, what if you make a change at the meeting,
Would you mind getting my water, please?
make a motion to revise.
Is this one is?
Wait, ask me to minutes.
Okay. If they post the agenda 24 hours prior to the come on, which I know they do. But if they decide to change during the meeting, we have to revise it and look at it and say, revise it.
Yeah, that is not
Make a
even,
motion.
that's not even on
That's
the,
not what I'm
that's,
talking about.
that's none of my troubles tonight. Only troubles I have tonight is the superintendent's report. So there's no superintendent's report 24 hours in advance. There's no budget on final form 24 hours in advance. It's not even here tonight. So the attendees are supposed to have it and 24 hours in advance. So as a journalist,
You're supposed to do that
every meeting, I'm with the press. And I have the right to be here. I'm an independent journalist. So what I do is I take these stories and I give them to all the school districts. And we contribute. I'm from Chunk County. Why am I
which is
3 hours north. And I could have stayed home if they had all the pertinent information, but they didn't. And I was gonna come here to find out if it was on your doors. It's supposed to be posted on your door, so I came here. I had no idea where your meeting was. I had no idea what you were going to talk about. When I finally get this, what's your budget? What's your budget here, guys? Yearly budget?
this is perceived as
Perceived violation. I perceive,
subject.
that's right. So I get to give my
Because it
perceived.
bother you, it may not bother somebody else.
That's fine, but I have right to object. And what they do is they hear my objection.
Is it a time?
Nope, it's right there.
No.
No, the Sunshine Law does not permit, does not give a time limit. That is, they leave
Not
it
for
up to,
objection.
they leave that up for the school board to use in their school board.
So it's perceived also then.
There's no perceived time limit, there's no time limit.
You know what's in sunshine law is there's no.
Exactly. I saw that.
This whole thing's a sunshine law.
The whole thing's Sunshine. And quite frankly,
What's it about time limit?
5, but I'm assuming it might be my figure, because I'm assuming.
that's more for, statutory stuff and the time. So if I,
write the law, they can.
sure, now I got something even simpler. So I have this little thing called the Constitution. I can sit here for 4 days and object if I want to.
Yeah, so you can go say what you think.
That's okay.
Do you already need your notice?
Because I'd rather let them have their decorum,
Okay.
but she's not giving me decorum. I think about it. I was done in 3 minutes telling you to proceed violations. They won't do it
Okay.
because they know they're in the wrong.
No superintendent report, no budget, no.
There's no superintendent report, there's no budget. Basically, there's no pertinent
He
information
just talks
available.
about it when it should be written down and open
They
to
didn't
the
give it to us
public.
24 hours in advance. Right now, what he's about to do, if they don't let me object, this actually moves into a constitutional violation, which is very expensive. While First Amendment, freedom of speech, they were literally shutting me down. The law says to let me speak. I'm trying to redress them grievances, and I have the right to redress them grievances. There's no time limit on that either. This is literally going to be a financial crisis for your school if they don't let me just speak for 3 minutes. I mean, that's probably all it's going to take. But they're not permitting me to do anything. I'm going to take it. And they're going to listen to it because what our job in the Declaration of Rights, it says to consult and instruct your public servants. I am trying to consult and instruct. I put bar grievance on the attorney. The disciplinary board says, in fact, when the solicitor gives bad advice to the school board, they do not have to follow it. Now, she is trying to say I have a time limit on my objection. There is none. If she tells them that, and they follow her lead tonight, which they probably will, then what's going to happen is she's going to walk them right into a constitutional violation, which is the easiest thing in the world to move forward on. They should listen to my objection. If you have any influence over them because of prior board, if you haven't, they need to listen. Let me object. They either got to remedy it. Because this is exactly how we fall apart in our society. When the schools fall apart, all the argument you have to hear about all this other stuff, most of it's coming from right here. The school board is a constitutional being. The administration is the administration. They're two different entities. But because we don't come here, we don't consult and instruct our board members, they get their leadership from the administration and the solicitor. And they, in fact, are almost like lobbyists and not solicitors. Because they want all these programs that come in here because they need money, money, money. And because we didn't come here to help our school board members, those poor bastards are basically thinking that they're an arm of the administration. They think they're an arm of the solicitor. And they listen to everything the solicitor says, and she's not even voting. They don't know how to do this. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody in opposition to me, you can ask your board to simply just hear me out, and I'll sit down. It's that simple. You can go on with your business. Anybody in opposition to me, ask your board still. It would be best for them because they'll have a First Amendment violation, which is harder to deal with, more expensive. Because this will not rest. I cannot unsee what I see. I cannot unhear what I hear, and I will follow through. Mrs. Solicitor, you hear me? Mrs. Solicitor, do you hear me? I can't undo what's about to happen. So if I was you, I would let myself, I would allow me to speak, and you either remedy it or you are going to deny it, and then I'm going to sit down. Potentially, they're going to be overreacting and bring in the police. Once they threaten to arrest me, then in fact that is another violation, and then I'll sit down or leave under that duress because they're going to come armed. So they're about to use what you would call, they're about to use our police force wrong, and they're not going to know what to do because this is outside of their scope. So I've not been disorderly. I've not been disruptive. I have the right to object. It's right here. And they're not going to want to hear it, so they're just going to come do their business. And they're going to think they're doing the right thing, and unfortunately, it's not going to be good. They shouldn't. In the past, they haven't, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, no, he thinks it's what they're doing.
Mrs. Solicitor, I'm going to move into redressing my government in a minute. Mr. Solicitor, would you like to record my grievances while you're waiting for the board? So you can preempt some of it?
Do you have them written down?
I'll tell you what they are. They didn't give all pertinent information 24 hours in advance, 7:09 of the Sunshine Law. It's not posted at this building where it was going to be held. It's not posted on the doors, nor is it in the administrative office. So there's a violation of notification of agency business to be considered. There's no budget in final form in the documents. That's pertinent information again. The superintendent's report. He proposed stuff during his superintendent's report. Anything that's proposed is official action. That should have came after public comment. We all should have been able to view his superintendent's report if it had proposals in it, because proposal, comment, and voting is all official action. So he shouldn't have done that in front of the people. He should have done it after the comment section, and we should have had his superintendent's report 24 hours in advance, so we could speak educatedly about what he was going with it. And right now, my right to object is being stomped on, so hopefully when they come out, you allow me to finish my objection, because this will move into a First Amendment violation. Because I'm telling you now, I'm about to redress my government grievances using the Constitution and Declaration of Rights, which is far longer and lengthier. And it in fact has no time limit. The Constitution does not say you have 2 minutes to remonstrance against your board. So we have to simply allow me to object the way your law says. This law restrains you. You should let me do it. I'm going to ask you for remedy. I will offer remedy. And you will say, no, sir, we're not going to do that. We deny it. Please sit down. When you deny it, I sit down. Or you give me remedy. My remedy, in fact, is going to be adjourn this meeting because it wasn't properly noticed and there was no pertinent information. You can't vote on the stuff that we did not have available to see 24 hours in advance. There's already been case law on that, where if you do not provide pertinent information in advance of a vote, in fact, the people were in the dark. So therefore, they did not have the right to speak freely on an item they don't even have in front of them.
I'm listed down the list.
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate you providing them again. Can you just give me your name and the spelling of it?
Yes, my name is George, George, Andrew, Andrew, Uhas, Yuhas.
Okay, and the town you said you're from?
Wyoming County. I am, in fact, one of the people of Pennsylvania. I am the public, and I am simply a press or independent journalist. I have the right to be here, and any person has the right to raise an objection at any time to a perceived violation of this chapter at any meeting or of a board or council or political subdivision or an authority created by a political subdivision. And I'm here to do that. Is this still being recorded by the school board even while they're being adjourned? Are you still recording, my friend? Right? Yes or no? Okay, but you have this, right? Okay.
Oh, I've got it everywhere.
He does too.
It's important to note that I never left the building. Believe it or not, that's a big deal. There's a bunch of esoteric things that we all never paid attention to before because we relied on to guide us through this chaos over the last 40 or 50 years. But in fact, by leaving them without consultation and instruction, and quite frankly, everybody needs leadership. When this man came up to the podium, I clearly stepped to the side, and I can feel and hear he has some authority. I wanted him to have it. I was going to take his leadership, whatever he was going to advise me on. Everybody needs leadership. If you don't come to your school boards and give these poor school board members leadership, they will get it from the solicitor and the administration. And they are lobbed. They're not here for us. They're here for everything. She probably sits on boards with the school board association, the superintendent school association, the teachers union, the Pennsylvania Department of Education. She's other boards and she represents those people. How can she represent? She doesn't. She represents them. She's a lobbyist more than a solicitor. And she gives them bad advice and they don't have to take it. So if she gives them bad advice, they're the ones who are going to pay the consequences, where she'll get a slap on the wrist and the disciplinary board will tell me, in fact, When the solicitor gives bad advice to the school boards, they're not obligated to take it. So whatever happens, happens. That's what the disciplinary board is going to say. So you have to teach the school board members should sound and look like us, do their own research. 1833, Barlow versus United States. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. The man was selling too much sugar. He didn't know he was selling too much sugar, so he thought since he didn't know the law, how could he be breaking the law? Well, that was decided in 1833. Ignorance of the law is no defense. So every one of these school board members need to know the law and the Constitution themselves and not just rely on the solicitor. She has a job to do, and it's for all of the departments and agencies trying to get into this school.
There's also a maximum law 57C that addresses that ignorance of the law excuses no one
That's
for
right.
all bound to know the law.
Yeah.
So, no excuses. For anything.
My mom wasn't really for one. She keeps testing me, so. So,
Are you still recording live? So who's recording live?
Yeah.
Oh, right there.
I'm here, you're live right there.
I am moving from the statutory world. I'm about to stand on my Constitution. I'm about to use a declaration as my standing. I'm going to be speaking as sui juris, and I will be redressing this government with my grievances. It's a constitutionally protected activity, which can never be turned into a crime or be sanctioned. Mrs. Solicitor, did you hear what I said? I'm going to be moving this jurisdiction from your statutory arena here, and we'll be speaking from my Constitution, my Declaration of Rights, what my common law is. And I, in fact, will be speaking from sui juris. So my standing, status, and jurisdiction is now constitutional, and you have no jurisdiction over me. You had the jurisdiction when you would have allowed me to object properly, but since you failed to do that, we have now moved into my jurisdiction. I believe they're going to adjourn. They've let some of the people go. So they're probably just waiting.
So, Evan,
They're probably going to end the meeting. They're probably going to try to remove me using the subcontracted police officers.
policy officer.
Yeah, they're going to use them. They're probably going to, I will only leave under the threat of arrest, which is the same thing as being arrested. And then that will be by Mrs. Solicitor, the school board, and the police officer and department with that error. I do, but I probably won't get into that. There's no need to get into that. They should have dealt with this in their jurisdiction. They should allow me to object. I'd be sitting down in this meeting on.
Call doing the right thing, and that's where we need to hold them accountable.
If in fact they're in executive session dealing with this, and if for any chance that they're in there warring against the Constitution, which that's what they'll be doing, because again, I'm exercising my constitutional right. So if they're trying to figure how to shut me down instead of just letting me speak, that's considered warring against the Constitution. Immediately after this meeting, you should start emailing your school board, even in my opposition. Tell them to please follow the law. It's easily written, black and white. Ask them to follow the law. The statute binds them. Simply follow the law, notice properly, and then reschedule the meeting. If the meeting isn't noticed properly, we will do it again until they learn how to notice meetings properly, give all the people pertinent information, and do things properly. If they can't do it properly, then they can't have a meeting. Just make sure you record everything. Make sure you record everything, please.
Cops right around the corner.
Just make sure the whole time you follow me.
Make sure you get their name.
And badge number.
It's pretty sad that just because you.
No, it's okay. This is called consulting and instructing your government. I'm okay with this. You should be okay with this too. There's got to be follow-up. You keep going. Eventually, you will get them to realize they are, in fact, constitutional beings, administration or statutory beings, and they must protect. The very first job of government office is to protect your individual rights, not your collective rights, your individual. My rights should have been protected now, but instead they left to war against me and prove that they're warring against. This is a for-profit individual that's about to come in here. That's equivalent like buying cannons from which to fire on the people, because they're literally getting an outside contractor that's going to charge money for this incident and war against one of the people and in fact steal my rights. Try to. If I was to sit down or take what she gave me, that's me consenting or tacitly agreeing. In fact, I won't do that. They will do that for us because it's clearly written here. I'm not making this up. This is evidentiary. This is fact. I'm not making nothing up. They've just violated stuff. And they don't want to hear it because, in fact, that's maladministration, which is a terrible thing. Maladministration means the oath of office, which is a self-executing portion of the 14th Amendment, which would put them all in dire straits. So they probably know they can't have maladministration levied against them, because if they do, that self-executes the 14th Amendment. And when they're warring against the people, like they are right now potentially, and they come in here and use a police officer to take my rights from me or from one of the people, which is from any of you as well, then in fact they're warring against the Constitution, which actually moves in the treason. It sounds gross and too big, but that's in fact what they're doing. And until they know that, we will never have peace. All the stuff that you want to argue about curriculum and morality and ethics, fine. I don't want to argue that stuff. Because I believe if we get them to follow this, half that stuff goes away. Because you can prove that you're unconstitutional. And you're only splitting hairs over a few items. They keep it so real into crazy because they're not following their own law, their own statutes, or they don't even consider the Constitution. That's the first thing. Every action, they turned the lights on to this meeting hall, was the Constitution? And the answer is no, because it wasn't noted properly. Every action the government takes is supposed to line up or go against the Constitution. Then you measure it against all your statutory rules and laws. It has to first be constitutional. So if there's 17 things to be voted on tonight, all 17 should be measured against the Constitution first. And simply turning the light on today was against the Constitution. Not give us a chance for a peaceful assembly because we had no information. We can't even really speak on the superintendent's report. He didn't make it available to us.
Well, we have our 3 minutes and then emailing, but we never get, there's never a conversation. There's never, again, like you said, an objection or questions or getting it.
You'll get more of your speaking time out of objections. So we do have to understand their statutory rules and laws. It's what binds them. It doesn't bind us. If you agree to minutes and sit down, in America, we are governed by, we are consenting. You have all nicely consented to your 3 minutes. But in fact, you're allowed to speak on all official action. So if there's 17 items, you get 3 minutes for whatever item you want, not 3 minutes for all 17. That's ridiculous. So that's just not a fact. You're supposed, because the Sunshine Law says, in fact, you can speak on all official action, whether they're voting, deliberating, or commenting. All 3 of those things are considered official action. So therefore, you have the right to speak on it. If they want to give the burden of 3 minutes, fine. You've got 3 minutes per topic that they're about to, well, official action they're going to take. And in fact, Mr. Superintendent was taking official action up there. He was proposing something. He was deliberating, so therefore it's official action. And he didn't allow that for us to be in front of him. He went first. They can take no official action without our comment or deliberation. Not just voting. Everybody thinks voting is all that has to be after us. Deliberation and comment needs to be done with us speaking on it, on each item, if we want to.
As you go along.
Mhm,
Yeah.
that's right. And- But if they want you to try, if they want you to talk about it all at one time, be prepared to speak about it at one time.
Yeah.
You got the covered one?
Yeah, the one that's under the.
God, I got that. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad.
School board member, sir? 1833, Barlow versus United States. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. All need to know the law, you just can't ask. She's trying to advise you, and you don't have to take her advice. The disciplinary board of precedent told me that already, that she gives you bad advice, you don't have to take it. Mr. Police Officer, I am standing on my Constitution, Declaration of Rights, and my common law, which is a jurisdiction outside of your jurisdiction. I am committing no crime. You can never turn a God-given right into a sanction or a crime. So I, in fact, am standing on my Constitution and redressing the government right here with a grievance. They can hear me out, follow their own law, and I will sit right down once they remedy it or they deny it. You don't have the authority here, so if they make you do anything, have them remove me, and you can just guide me.
I'd like to get this meeting started. It's the purpose of this board to conduct the business of this district.
Are you going to allow me to finish my objection?
Sir, if you do not,
I'm objecting. You're talking over me. I'm in the middle of an objection.
you're interrupting a
You're
public meeting,
interrupting
all
my
right? We're
objection.
here to conduct business, and if you're gonna continue to
I am
interrupt, I am gonna
I am
ask
not-
you to leave.
I am not interrupting. I am
Sir?
objecting.
I will give you your minute.
You will, sir?
I will give you
Okay,
time
very
to
good.
speak,
Very
but
good.
if you continue to interrupt me,
I am not
I will ask
interrupting
you to
you. I
leave.
am objecting, but go ahead. You go ahead, sir.
It is the purpose of this board to conduct the business of the district. As the officer of this board, it is my responsibility to ensure that the meeting is conducted in an orderly and expeditious fashion. In doing that, we are going to follow the agenda without interruption.
After my objection?
Can you just announce the executive session?
So we are in executive session for legal advice. We have returned. You will have 3 minutes, sir, even though you did not follow the procedure outlined by the board. We will give you 3 minutes to state your objections. We have noted your objections, and they will be recorded. You have 3 minutes, at which time your 3 minutes is up, and we're going to continue with the business of this board.
You have to go ahead. I've recorded it. Please
For
go
the,
ahead.
for the record, the future, there's no time limit on objection, it's right here.
Sir, you have 3 minutes.
If you don't mind, quit interrupting me, you're on my time. You're on my time. The objection has no time limit. The reality of it is, it probably took less than 3 minutes. You stayed here and did not leave. My objections have been noted. You didn't have all pertinent information available to these people prior to this meeting, 24 hours in advance. There's not a single notice on a door or inside the principal's office that says meeting is happening in this building. I didn't even know what building to go to. This is an illegal meeting because it's not noticed properly. It is an illegal meeting because, in fact, all your pertinent information wasn't available. The superintendent, in fact, was proposing something inside of his report. Anything that's deliberated, commented, or voted, that is all considered official action, not just voting. So when he, in fact, made a proposal inside of the superintendent report, that should have been after the people's opportunity to speak on the superintendent's report if it was 24 hours in advance. But if, so therefore, it is his should have. Your budget is not in final form. It's simply ridiculous. This is the budget in this school district. This is your agenda. I promise you, this is illegal all day long. Seek counsel other than your solicitor. Because if this is happening for how many years, this is illegal all day long, I promise you. The fact that you would not let me properly object, a time limit, I don't consent to your time. I don't consent to your, I will not agree to your tacitly agreeing to it, because in fact, there's no objection. I'm not commenting. I'm objecting to an illegal, unlawful meeting. And I'm giving you remedies. Adjourn this meeting is improperly held. Everything you vote on tonight, in fact, will be void. It's an illegal meeting. It wasn't proper. It's simply, it's right there, 709. Your notification says put it on the building at principal's office. It's not there. Pertinent information 24 hours in advance. It's not there. If she tells you otherwise, this is not new. This is all old business. This is literally First Amendment violation. Those people can't speak educatedly on any information. So thank you very much. Will you deny the violations, Mrs. Solicitor, or are you going to remedy it by adjourning this meeting?
Any other objections?
You have got to remedy. I have the right for remedy, and I have the right to deny it. If you deny it, I sit down right.
Sir, we are not going to adjourn this meeting. Let's
Or
get
the
these
violation,
objections.
you must be denying the violations then. If you're not going to remedy it, are you at least denying the violations? You have to deny it or remedy it. It's that simple.
I am not aware of any sunshine law violations that have occurred prior to or at this meeting.
So you're denying the
We are noting your
violations.
objections.
She will not be
We are
denying the
denying you
violations.
the remedy, and we are asking you to sit down. Your
Are you
objections have
denying
been-
the violations? You're saying not aware, then deny the violations.
Sir, we are not
She knows
accepting your
legal
remedy.
issues.
We are asking you to please sit down.
I will
Your
sit down
your
when you
period for
deny
objection
the
has ended. We are at 3 minutes. Your period of
Really,
objection
I
has
don't
ended.
have a time on objections. You must remedy this by adjourning this meeting or at least denying the fact that you violated
Sir,
it.
do you have any more objections?
Do you deny any of the
Do you
violations?
have any more objections?
Yes, I object that you are not following protocol to remedy this or deny it.
Do you have any further objections beyond that?
Yes, that is it, and you must
Okay,
remedy
if
this
you have
or
no further
deny it.
objections, please sit down.
You must deny
Please
it.
sit down.
You have to deny this. I can't sit down because then I will be tacitly agreeing that there's no troubles. You are in fact, you deny the meeting, I sit down.
Sir, I'm asking you to sit down.
Don't
Your
ask me.
period of objection
Deny
has
the
ended.
violations. I have a right to have a denial or a remedy.
Sir, if you will not sit down, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Well, thank you very much, but I want a denial. Just deny the violations. I deny the violations.
Sir, if you do not. if
Do you
do not
deny
sit
the
down,
violations,
you
counsel?
Continue interrupting this meeting.
Counsel,
will not
you
proceed.
are interrupting my objections. You're not doing this properly.
We are
Deny
asking
the violations.
you to leave this meeting. If you do not sit down, we will seek legal
You
intervention.
said in fact that you don't see any perceived violations. Is that right?
Sir, I need to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
But we're taking over.
Yes, and I'll,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, yes, sir, go ahead.
Just a second. You're giving your time allotted.
There's no time allowed.
Okay,
It's
so
right
I'm
here.
giving you 3 minutes.
No, sir, it's right here. There's no time allowed.
Stand down a second.
No, but it's very important. You're using their language. There's no time limit.
Please stand down a second.
But you must hear me first.
Would you like to sit or do you?
I want her to deny, you call your supervisor before you.
Okay, so can
can either have a seat and be present for the rest of the meeting.
Understand that your jurisdiction is statutory, and I will not be following your direction or hers. You will deny the violations.
Can you come back here?
No, sir. Deny the violations.
Sir, you can either.
Hey, will you, is this under the threat of arrest, by the way?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, very
But
good.
if you continue to
I'm going to.
disobey.
No, there's no disobeying, sir. This is a constitutional
Have
jurisdiction.
a seat, please. Come out here and talk.
Ma'am, you're either gonna deny this, you made an
Sir,
offer,
sir,
you made an offer, you're interrupting me, please, just wait, let me finish.
We're gonna continue the meeting. We're gonna continue.
Now, she has to deny my
Sir.
Complete the
violations,
business items.
Sir.
she has to deny her
President,
violations.
I move
She does.
approve all business items as
It's right here. That's it. So I understand this.
been moved and seconded.
Sir,
Are you
Are there any
threatening to arrest me?
questions?
I am at this point. If it's not, you're gonna
He is now threatening to arrest me if I don't leave, okay? You understand that?
Okay.
Is that right? You're threatening to arrest me right now?
Taking all the agenda items at one time.
Would you
I
continue
think
to-
it's
By name, by name.
Sure.
Sure. I'll be- I'll take
It's a
the
nine,
Okay.
Dr. Argot.
Are you- No. Are we
We're
gonna
gonna
go?
go.
Yeah.
But it's outside your jurisdiction.
Okay, this is
So-
very touchy.
I know, this is very new, this is very new to you.
Okay, well, we can.
Oh, was
discuss
it outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was approved 9-0, we can jump in, the agenda.
I'm going live.
To take them all as one, so you need to introduce the agenda item as a, full agenda.
Here's a motion.
We're gonna take them all at once, so the agenda is yours.
All right, it is the recommendation of the administration that the board approves items 5A through 5H as presented this evening.
It was moved and seconded. Are there any objections or questions? Hearing no further discussion, this will be called, considered a roll call vote. Will all be considered as voting in the affirmative unless I hear otherwise. 9-0. And I'd like to just say publicly, welcome to our new hires. Congratulations. Welcome to West Shore. Information items, item 6A. Review of the January 19th agenda, Dr. Stoltz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next week, we will have our normal student speakers out. I did mention to some of you last month and at one of the committee meetings. We are also having representatives of the I'm Fire Art Project. They will be out next week to share information with us, so I know we're excited about that. I did misspeak when normally Mr. Broom from CTC is out in the month. You may be the greatest people on this planet. Under the I have utmost respect for I can't unsee what I see. You made it. I pray all the words of saints. I forgive you like you best. However, I don't know what I can do because I have to change the same way I treat that solicitor. You know, scream. If for any reason this goes south, this is to share your house with me. I promise I'll bring everything in before you somehow try to make sure you take my information. I want to take my information. Because I don't think you're going to survive this one. Yeah, I'm only going to give you my information. Because you want to do your job. That's right. It's not fair. And then last time, she was very vile. She might have done it with a smile. She did it easily. She was very vile. Now, while I was the first possibly happy, she would not say they were nice. They would feel like she got that notice and was all like, fair. Then she said,
So what you're saying might be trespassing. Might be trespassing. By who trespassing? Who trespassing? They asked for so, but was I didn't work so they asked for trespassing. You have no trespassing. All right, so okay. I'm going to ask. Yes.
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you want to give me more, I appreciate it. Your phone number in 5 seconds. So if I call you, then it's going to be better. You were proud. But
Wait,
I can't see what I see. I can't shoot you as any different than people that are more violent. You're using the two. You don't know the Constitution and the rules either. You know statutory policy. You know about. So that's what you guys are doing.
So wait, what's happening? Are you getting arrested for trespassing? Is that what's happening?
You're
So you have to leave.
You're trespassing.
Oh.
And I wasn't able to.
So you just leave and that's that.
Yeah.
Supervisor's on the way?
So, thank you. Oh, yeah, no, I did my business. I can only leave if they remedy it.
They trespassed him and he's gonna go, I guess. So
Can you not go out there?
Very carefully or once they come back in. There was like a little rail. Well, yeah, you can do that. Just be slow.
Yeah.
We're going to walk about. I should have turned the microphone back on the inside. Must have dropped this guy off. This police officer's car's not out here. I was going to come see if we had. He should have made him arrest him. Yeah, well, that's not the point there, HSK. That's not the whole point. Is there another way to address this? I don't know. This is a whole bunch of stuff. I've never walked into any of this kind of stuff before, so I've got a lot to learn about it. Why are they having to go to this extreme measure to get some of the things heard? I don't know. I do believe that if we can ever get the communication opened up, that maybe we can fix some stuff. Oh, no problem, Susie. It was my pleasure to come up here and do this. I opened my mouth and said I'd be here, and here I am. I should have left the other one going here.
Great attitude. Great attitude. This is going to happen. So listen to this. I'm going to reach out to you and try to give you some stuff to research. So you can read it with your own eyes. Never listen to it later in life. 2 plus 2 equals 4. So TO plus TOO is FORE. Does. So until you see it in writing, you can read it. You know it's true. So what I'm going to tell you, I need you to read it for yourselves. Never let them make you do this to you again. Right? It's a constitutional thing. If I took the 3 minutes and I consented to it, that's how we're governed. We're governed by consent. It's government of the people, by the people, for the people, and we're governed by consent. If all those people stopped at 3 minutes, they consented to that because they want order. And everybody wants order. Let's move fast. The objection has no time limit. They try to put a time limit where it doesn't exist. So therefore, they try to add legislation where there is. They don't have authority to change that law. There's no time limit. An objection means I can read a law that could be 3 pages long. And read it. But they're trying to keep it as a comment section. It wasn't a comment. That was an objection. And there's a proper way of dealing with an objection. I object. I give the perceived violation. I give what code they broke. And I give them a remedy, asking for a remedy, which would have been to adjourn this meeting. Or deny it. Now they've sat down. Because if they deny it, that means they willfully move forward, which would be evidentiary that they don't get it, although they screw you or the one, which is make it easier to prosecute. Because in fact, they'll be prosecuted. Do you see an agenda posted on this? You know, that alone makes it certain. What if I get your info? Yeah. I'm just gonna give you my name. And my phone. So the first name is George. Yep. My middle name is George. My last name is Y-H. For if you need it, please text me. Guys, I'm crazy. It's really easy to tell you. That's said why you visually. That's why you visually. All right. Thomas. That's right. Thank you. Appreciate your cooperation. Yeah, no, you would have easily gotten it. I even told him what I needed. I needed remedy, denial, or return. And unfortunately, you have like it's. I don't think that's. Oh, I want this man to know they put him at this. So this is considered a false arrest. I wasn't in fact arrested via the Constitution. I was pulled out of the threat of arrest. But this has got to come back to him. And they did it to him. That's the next time. Tell them to get up, remove the person, and then you just make sure that nobody goes in there with this. And in fact, a law. Then I broke the policy. I broke no law. I broke no policy. Followed the objection rules, followed the Constitution, and in fact, I was more, it's called being more because I'm standing for the Constitution. Whenever they, the fact that they brought in an armed person to remove me, we did it out of an executive secret meeting. That's executive session or secret meeting. We're allowed to have 7 things. One of them is warned against the person's Constitution. So I, in fact, had a right. I could have stood there for 3 days. I could have stood there for 3 days. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate the cooperation. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. I'm really that wasn't. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thank you very much. Hey, no problem, man. Appreciate you guys.
You're welcome.
You got to open dialogue.
Yeah.
We'll shoot you for it.
Um, small amount. Slide 19 is the revenue analysis summary, so you can see there the percentages of your revenue in the different categories. And then the rest of the presentation is the same as it was presented to you last time.
This is good. In years past, we've had a spreadsheet as the budget progresses.
Yes.
And we understand that we're in the very early stages of the budget, and it's developing, and it's a moving target until we get to the approval in June. Are you keeping a tracker on the different changes of revenue and on the expenditure side?
Yep, I will be. Like I said, I haven't changed anything yet, but once we do start making changes, I will track them and provide that.
Line items, okay.
Yes.
And I know you're not prepared, at least not on the agenda, but can you give us an update on the status of our living assessments?
Yes, I discussed that in finance, so if you want to wait for that next month, if that's okay.
You'll see you'll see a new version of a report that I think will be something you'll be very interested in, which is it takes every one of the interest-bearing accounts or funds, if you will.
Yeah.
Whether that's the bonds, whether that's the capital reserve or the fund, and she's got that broken down by how much interest each one. And then you get to the end and you get a total for the year so far.
So can you give us a teaser on the total dollar?
About $630,000 so far this year.
That is excellent. That is
615 is take the week's or so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it includes, take that out, but.
Kudos. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when we have to close the gap that we have to close. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Thanks. I look forward to the new report format, and I look forward to the financial statement. Thank you, Mr. Stover. Okay, is that it, Mrs. Boone?
Thank
Thank you so much. All right, so the last item on the agenda is the recognition of the public. We'll continue with recognition of the public. We'll hear from public blue cards. I will say this, we are going to conduct an orderly meeting. We have always been respectful, we have always given everyone a chance to speak. We will continue to do that. If we cannot do that, being respectful and keeping an orderly meeting becomes a problem or an issue, then we'll adjourn. But we will not tolerate the disruptions and the interruptions. Say that up front. So, Dr. Argott, do you have additional blue cards?
There are no student ones. I have one electronic and 2 more.
Thank you. Since I already have your blue card, Mrs. Ship, you can go first.
Okay.
Okay.
Too much drama.
Huh?
It's too much drama for me.
Honestly, me too. Mr. Scott, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name, Diorazo?
Durazio.
Well, Mr. Durazio, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm a parent of a first grader at Fairview Elementary. My issue tonight is not going to be anything earth shattering, but I'll explain the point what made me decide to come here tonight to make you aware. I am a coach. My kid's involved with Redlands Youth basketball. I am a coach, but I'm here tonight as a parent. We do our practices at Washington Heights. Mr. Sanders probably knows where I'm going with this. We recently received a letter that was put out to the parents from the district threatening to revoke our access to the schools. It was over a door being propped open. The issue is that we go to practice every week and the doors are locked. And I know we followed the use of facilities to get those for our kids to use, and we can't get in. And this is why I decided to come here tonight. We were standing there last night. My first grader looked at me and said, "Daddy, why won't they let kids in school?" That's when I decided I need to come and speak up more. So I don't know a lot of information about what goes on district-wide. I do have neighbors and friends who are in practices elsewhere. They don't have this problem. It seems to be isolated to Washington Heights. We participate in swimming through West Shore Rec. We walk right into the high school. We go and do what we need to do. You go to a game, you walk in, you do what you need to do. We've even gone to school-sponsored activities in the evening where there's no guard at the front door. You are able to walk in and do what you need to do. I understand firsthand, safety's first, curriculum second. I understand that should be is your objective here as a board. But I also understand that what our kids do outside of school, as you saw here earlier this evening, is just as important. I've got a first grader. We got a long ways to go here, and I want to make sure that he's in an environment that is going to support these activities. Schools are there for education, but they're also a community asset, and that's why you have use of facilities policy. And I just want to make sure that it's not being that those things aren't being taken lightly. Unlock the doors like you do at any other event and let us come in. And it's not the coaches that are propping the door, I can assure you. It's other parents because they're seeing other kids get locked out and they want the kids to come in and play basketball. We talk about kids watching too much TV or being on their iPads or all running around the streets getting into no good. These types of things, we've got 400 kids involved in this. It's a constructive activity for them. It's healthy. Let's encourage it. Let's not be a barrier to it. Again, I understand that security is a concern, but I also understand the function of the school during the school day is different than the function of the school in the evening, and therefore the operations need to be tailored to those differences to accommodate our community and our students. So thank you. I hope that could be taken under consideration. I'd say pick up the phone, call somebody. Let's
Mr.
work it out.
I'd like to thank you for bringing this to our attention. And I would like to ask you that after the meeting, could you get with the
I'm actually
administration?
going to give some clarification on this if you give me the opportunity.
You have the opportunity. Go ahead.
So very much, the district did issue a letter through Mr. Sanders, and I'm well aware of its contents, that went to the Redland Youth Basketball specifically about its usage at Washington Heights. And I have never seen or heard your name before, so other than being a parent of a child who's that's where I think, you are, and I appreciate your perspective tonight. But the problem has been, the principal of the building, has notified the leadership on numerous occasions about doors being propped and the conditions that are being left. We went to great lengths to provide additional security in our buildings during the day this year. And we have a lot of internal discussion that said those things also extend into the evening time when we have other programs. So the simple ask is, we don't want the door propped. We want somebody there responsible to let people in to do that. And after receiving that letter just this week, the door hardware, we found the door hardware in disrepair the next morning. So this is the only site of the many sites that are actually in use by Red Lamb Youth Basketball where we've had this issue. So I think in the end, what we're asking for is just cooperation. We don't want this activity to end. The letter didn't say it's ending tomorrow. This isn't the first time, but this is what I would say, a first fair warning of, this has gotten our attention to the point where emails and other ways to remedy this have not been met. So I'm happy to talk outside of that, or Mr. Sanders, but that's really where we are on this. I mean, our buildings get heavy usage, and we just don't have the issues. So whether the doors are left wide open in the middle of winter, and I know we got plenty of penny pinchers, right? You don't want to heat the outside. And just the access that it provides, because there are not, during the day is one thing, we've got more people, back to school events. We have other people that are there, larger numbers of people. For basketball, there are custodians in the building, and otherwise it's parents and people that are coming in to use the activity, to use the center. So that's the additional information I have, and I'm happy to talk with you in greater detail, but we just, I think from our perspective, want that to go both ways in terms of being good stewards of the access in the building.
Yeah, and if I may make two quick comments. The letter that was sent was to the Red Lamb Youth Basketball president. It was not distributed directly to parents.
Okay.
That's we're free to do that, but I want to clarify that. Second, Dr. Stoltz mentioned the hardware. In fairness to the Red Lamb Youth Basketball program, I do not believe that any of that, that was, I think, normal wear and tear of kids coming in and out of the door. I don't believe that's attributable. It happened. It was functional. The pieces were nice. It was working at the end of the school day, or seemed to be, and they worked the next day. I don't think there's any connection between.
We're not blaming anybody.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
There's no connection between.
Thank you for that clarification.
And the only other thing I would say is the propping of the doors. I think one of the most egregious ones that we highlighted was, yes, those were propped, and then all of those participating in the program left the building and left the door propped open. That was one of the ones that was really, that was a little tough to swallow. Although we did have custodians in the building, they do secure the building at the end of the night. There was an extended period of time, as Dr. Stoltz said, where they were not there and the door was left propped open.
And that's a security issue.
And that is concerning. And again, our hope is to continue the program, and I hope that if I didn't achieve that in the way the letter was worded, I apologize. Our intent is to keep the program running, but to try and correct some of the deficiencies that we've had in the way it's working. And the being locked, that's the first time that's come to me, but often the communication doesn't go both ways. We'll make sure that our folks are aware that that program is coming in, those doors are being unlocked, so that the people that need to use the building.
I think that's the difference. You're talking, it's the only buildings that you're having problems in. Like, the other buildings are open. If the doors are unlocked, nobody has to prop it, and it's even late too. The custodian, I know he's doing his job of what he needs to do in the evenings. Respect that, understand that. Set an alarm, unlock the doors. I agree. If they propped the door and left it wide open, I understand the issue there. But I think what you would see with comparing, you're saying that Washington Heights is the only problem in the school, but the only problem within the league. I doubt it's just the people that are going to Washington Heights. I bet you there's probably a difference in how things are being handled at your other building. Unlock the doors, let the kids come in. If there's a problem with garbage or trash or kids being somewhere in that building that they shouldn't be, we need to know about it. As a parent, we need to know about it. As a coach, we'll know about it and we'll address those issues. But just unlock the doors and let us come in.
Is there a door that can be unlocked during certain times? Like,
Yeah, a lot of times though, what happens with programs is there's an access reader that someone responsible for the group has access to. The door doesn't need to be unlocked, but someone with the program can access it. And that can be controlled.
Yeah.
So,
Oftentimes that woman in a tough position, like you could tell she wants to let us in, and I told her, don't let us in. That is not your job, and that would probably be a violation of your agreement of use of facility. So don't. I understand. If she was nervous, she felt bad. I don't want, you got kids out here, it's cold. I was like, no, you do your thing. We'll wait like we're supposed to wait.
And we appreciate that. And I would just ask you, certainly, we want to be good partners, and we want kids to have these activities. So thank you for coming and bringing this to our attention. I would encourage you to get with Mr. Sanders and Dr. Stoltz anytime, and let's be good stewards of the buildings and work together to make this work.
And one other note for clarification, Mr. Posse, who was the president, did respond to me. It's been a crazy week. I owe him a response to set the requested meeting, and Mr. Harrison, director of elementary education, myself, are going to do Mr. Posse. So wheels are already turning.
There's got to be a solution here. I mean, when first grader says, "Daddy, why can't kids get into school?"
Yeah. Let's hope we can find it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And last blue card we have is Miss Denise Dugan. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you. Icon piece. Looks like I have a lot of free time in here. And I would like to ask the board kindly, I have some educational materials of our founding documents and the original Constitution. And there's just some provisions that I would like to read because it's all missing from our curriculums right now. I would like to ask if you would give me a 3 minutes to speak because some of the provisions are long. And I just want to give a brief overview and see if we can reintroduce some of this into our curriculums as an idea as a community as a whole.
Okay, you're asking additional 3 minutes. I'm going to ask all the members of the board if they're interested in allowing Ms. Dugan an additional 3 minutes. Mr. Goldberg? No. Mrs. Crescenti? Mrs. Tierney?
I would ask, please speak up.
Please speak up. You have an additional 3 minutes. You have a total of 6 minutes.
Yeah, hold the mic.
Okay? At the grace of the board, we're breaking protocol over here. It's been a crazy night. You have 6 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
So it already started, okay, I didn't even get the, all right, great. Okay, so I would like to start with how the people originally created constitutions and we into the government. So our forefathers were so brilliant, they left everything that we need to stay as free people in a constitutional republic, not a democracy, okay? And the people have power, and we also, with that power, were given duties to, as trust protectors of the trust of the Constitution. And when you all, as public servants and trustees, swear an oath to the Pennsylvania and the U.S. Constitution, you become a trusted servant. So that means you have a contract with the people, okay? You guys are here to take care of business for us, make sure things are running. You're our trustees and public servants, okay? They hold all the power, and I'm about to read that in both constitutions. The Constitution of Pennsylvania, which is found in September. So there's a lot that has not been taught in our schools, and when I was in school, this was not taught. So I'm just curious, you know, how many constitutions do we have? Does anybody know? Anybody know? 51. Okay. So we're going to read Article 1, Section 2. All power is inherent in the people, which means it comes from God. No one's ever taken it away. And all free government is founded on our authority and is for our peace, safety, and happiness. For the advancement of these ends, they have at all times an inalienable, which means it can never be taken away. Indivisible, cannot be disputed. Right to alter, reform, or abuse of government in such manner as they may think proper. These are living and breathing documents. This is historical documents that we are using and utilizing as a constitutional republic. So when you guys go outside your truck venture and bring in all the health and safety policies that are below constitutional law, and try to bring, well, not try, you're forcing to bring in things that the parents are, continuously objecting to. Now you're getting your third notice of maladministration and malfeasance because you have been served twice, put on alert that, hey, this is where you're trampling, this is where you swore an oath not to do that and protect our inherent rights that are declared in writing in each state constitution, okay? And the right to an education is considered a liberty that is a fundamental right, where public servants make public accommodations for the people's protection, safety, and happiness. In the process of making accommodations as public servants and trustees, they never abrogate inherent rights, any policy, including any and all health and safety plans, rules, or law. Miranda versus Arizona, where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation that would abrogate them. So whether the solicitors writing the policies here and the solicitors in our government, each branch of our government are writing our legislation instead of our legislators, it's all unlawful because if anything is not in the pursuance of these constitutions, any policy, act, rule, safety, health policy, I don't care what it is. If it is in pursuance of our inherent rights and it comes against us, it trespasses against us, it's null and void on its face. And there are many maxims of law to support that.
You have 5 minutes left.
So, we really want to work with you guys and support you as public servants. So, our kids are thriving. We don't want to fight. We don't want to argue. We really don't want to do that. We don't have the energy. We want to see our kids thriving. So instead of bringing in all this other emotional and creating all these emotional problems with the transgender spectrum, instead of just, there's two genders that God created, and we don't have God in our schools anymore, as Chris stated earlier, and that's a huge problem. You're going way off in the weeds spiritually and allowing all these nefarious things to come into our schools. And you guys have the power to stop it. So we're counting on you to honor your oath, do the right thing by the children, and you won't get this kind of pushback. You won't get served legal notices, 3 in a row.
Okay, please.
So, I would like to thank you for giving me the extra time, and I appreciate the good things that are happening, but I would really love to see more open conversations with the, for the public good with the board. Thank you.
That concludes the blue cards. Dr. Argyle, you have no more blue cards?
I have.
You have one. Yeah, that's an important one. Please read that one.
From Kristen Salvatore, she shared comments and suggestions related to the potential of having childcare available at school board meetings. These comments were shared with the board in advance.
Yes, and we did read your comments, Mrs. Salvatore, and thank you for sending those in.
Mr. Gregory, I just recommend that we have a brief executive session for 2 minutes for legal advice
And I'm calling for an additional executive session to talk about personnel issues as well. So,
Potentially, yeah.
yes, so after this meeting, we are going to retire into executive session. Thank you for sticking with us and getting through a difficult meeting, but we got our business done, which is the objective always. And I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week. Meeting adjourned.
Great job.
Yeah, here's that.
Last time he said, no. Extend steel with
This cute bag.
I am. Yes.
No, did we get everything live?
We're still live.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, let me get out of the way.
You don't have to get out of the way.
Yeah. Yes, a bunch of those applications. No, we are not at final stage. We will not do that. So they will put, the proposed line out.
Okay, we're gonna kill it, guys. We're gonna go smoke. Thank you, guys. We'll do a.
So the state, provides us
You're
a
welcome. We won't pay you.
clear percentage share that we have.
We'll talk to you guys.
Yep, we'll talk to you. I'll do another live on the way home. Then y'all can see me break down again. How about it?
They give us an estimate, you know,
We had almost 90 people.
previous year, and the estimate is 9.
That was okay.
All of the household arrived in there. Yes, up to yes, yep. And so we are basically.
That's about 40 minutes.
I'll sit there and do a lot.
We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
Well, that's